Hey there, guys. All right, today we are back with some more Fucking move chair. We are back with some more geography now, and this time Pakistan. Before we dive, oh shit, I had a friend in high school who was Pakistani, and I remember him being very proud of my pronunciation of his family's country, and I hope I can still pronounce it the way he liked it. So I hope I'm still pronouncing it right. It's been many years since high school, so maybe I've lost it. I don't know. But anyways, before we dive in, make sure you go and check out the links in the description box below. I would love you to join the Discord and follow me over at Twitch. And please do go check out the gaming channel here on YouTube, where I upload old streams and dumb clips, blah, blah, blah. That's all I really need to say. Let's just go ahead and dive straight into Pakistan.
All right, Pakistan. You've probably heard of this guy, maybe in the news, maybe in literature, maybe in movies. Pakistan is sort of a societal paradox. It's only a little over half a century old, yet it retains history that predates the pyramids of Egypt. There's so much to cover, so pack your bags and stand on this bus ride to Pakistan.
You've done better. You've had better, Barbie. Could have done better.
Hey everyone, I'm your host Barbs. Pakistan is kind of like the bridge between the Middle East and the rest of Asia. It is the only nation in the world known to have been established on the basis of religion alone.
Well, what about me?
I mean, originally kind of, yes, but you were like one unit with Pakistan, and then you got a second independence based on you not liking Pakistan.
Oh yeah, that's right. By the way, you should really redo my episode. It's completely outdated and you totally stole that map from Jay Foreman.
Oh, I met up with Jay in London. We had a jolly live stream chat and laughed about it. Calm down, he's cool with me.
It's true, I am cool with it.
I'm not really cool with it.
Anyway, time for Pakistan. Pakistan.
As I've said before, yeah, I hope he does go back to the older videos and does redo them. But obviously, as he said, he doesn't want to, once he's done with this style, he doesn't want to keep doing it. He wants to actually, like, as he said in a video like a few months ago now, he said he wants to, like, I did not react to that video. That's just a video on his channel that I watched. He wants to, like, actually go out and explore these countries. So I hope he does go back and just, like, kind of be a traveling geography show. I think that would be really cool. I would love to see that. So I hope he does do that once he's done with going through each and every single country. Anyway.
And it's interesting because even the name, which means pure land, is even an acronym for the 5 former regions of British India that joined together: Punjab, Afghania, Kashmir, Sindh, and Baluchistan. Pakistan! Later the I was added to just help with pronunciation. Anyway, the map. Pakistan is located in South Asia, surrounded by Iran, Afghanistan, China, and India, with the Arabian Sea and Gulf of Oman in the south. The country is divided into 4 provinces and 3 territories, including the capital Islamabad that acts as its own territory. Keep in mind the northern territories are administratively operated under Pakistan's government, but India still claims parts or most.
Y'all remember? Oh man, this was. Oh shit, this would have been back when COVID, I think, was going crazy. When COVID started. I mean, it's still kind of going crazy these days. But like when COVID started, that that first part of the year, I remember hearing the reports of increased India and Pakistan violence in Punjab. And I really thought a war was going to break out. I really did. I thought a war was going to break out here before a war broke out between Russia and Ukraine. I'm going to be honest. At that time, that's what I thought. Clearly, I was way wrong.
Most of them. The country's largest city and former capital, though, is Karachi in the Sindh province, with about 15 million people. It holds the largest and busiest airport, Karachi Jinnah International, and the largest shipping port, the port of Karachi, which handles about 60% of the nation's cargo. However, the largest deep sea port in the world is actually here in Gwadar. Recently, it has been going over massive renovations and construction funded by the Chinese as a means to help with access to the Indian Ocean. The nation's second largest city is Lahore in the Punjab province, which holds the 3rd busiest airport airport Lahore Allama Iqbal International, the country has a vast wide rail network extending from Karachi to Peshawar in the north, with branch lines extending to Iran, Afghanistan, and a proposed line that goes up to China. However, it would be very difficult considering that there are incredibly high mountains up further north, and today there is only one main road that crosses over from Pakistan into China. The N35 highway, otherwise known as the Karakoram Highway, the world's highest paved road at over 4,000 meters above sea level. This one little road is the life-giving artery on the 523-kilometer wide border that gives China access to the Indian Ocean and Pakistan access to the east, circumnavigating around India, which otherwise blocks them both. Yeah, I mean, it's really not hard to understand why China and Pakistan get along. It's like,
Give me access to the West! Ugh.
Nope.
and now my favorite part of any episode, territorial anomalies. Now, if you ask someone to draw the map of Pakistan, you might get a lot of different images depending on who you ask. Some might draw this, some might draw this, and those that don't know what maps are might draw this. But in regards to the
I would
Pakistani
draw that last
administered
one.
areas, as we discussed before, this whole region is disputed with India, and it is the site of the most militarized area on the planet, Jammu and Kashmir. In a condensed explanation, in this area, Pakistan and India want all of this, China just wants these parts. Pakistan and India had 3 wars. They drew a militarized line over here between India and Pakistan.
Wait a minute, hold on. Going back, did I say the Punjab region? I meant the Kashmir region. I can't remember what I said earlier in the video.
Pakistan relinquished their claim to the Shaksam Valley over to China, but India did not agree and still claims it. All the while, all 3 countries converge on the Siachen Glacier, the second largest non-polar glacier in the world, on point NJ9842, and the dead man zone begins where nobody dares to do anything. This is probably the most tense border point in the world. So there you go, confusing border stuff and weird tension with Chinese alliance. Pakistan! Some of the top spots you guys, the Pakistani geography suggested we mention in this video include places like Faisal Mosque, the Shandur Polo Grounds, the most dangerous hanging bridge in the world,
absolutely
Shangri-La
not.
Lake, the shipbreaking yard of Gadani. There's so many amusement parks like these. There are so many forts like these. There's even some Hindu sites like these. Of course, there are so many tombs and mausoleums. Here's a bunch of them. There's
Like
St.
these.
Patrick's Cathedral in Karachi, Changamanga, Lahore Museum, Karachi War Cemetery, all of these UNESCO heritage sites, as well as these major archaeological sites. Yeah, you can see that there's a
There's
lot
so
of
much in
backstory hidden
Pakistan.
within the valleys of Pakistan, and it goes way back to a very important river, which brings us to
I'd love to check out the ruins and stuff.
Pakistan's land.
The archaeology sites in Pakistan. I mean, just really the archaeology sites in the Middle East in general are probably one place I would love to visit eventually. But things are pretty tense in the Middle East at the moment. So, and I also don't have money, so it's you know, 2 things that are kind of hampering the whole desire to see the archaeology site. I don't even know if would I even be allowed to go near the archaeology sites as a tourist. I feel like a couple of them maybe, but maybe not the really cool ones. The really cool ones, the archaeologists are probably just hoarding and being like, "Oh, mine, get away, we're archaeologists. We are awesome." I fucking love archaeologists, man.
Landscape is incredibly diverse. If you look at Pakistan from above, you'll notice it has some very prominent and distinctly contrasting features. And it's very interesting how Pakistan used these features to their advantage. For one, Pakistan is kind of precariously situated right at the convergence of the Indian, Arabian, and Eurasian plate zones. This is what has created the dry, hilly area known as the Sulayman Range and the Baluchistan Plateau in the southwest. Despite the Balochistan province, the largest one, taking up about 44% of the country's land, only about 6% of the population lives here. This effectively makes Balochistan and Azad Kashmir the earthquake capitals of Pakistan. The capital of Balochistan, Quetta, was nearly destroyed in 1935, yet
goddamn.
rebuilt. In the north, you can find the tallest peak, K2 or Chogori, the second tallest mountain in the world, straddling the border with the disputed Shaksam Valley that both India and China claim. Keep in mind, 5 of the 14 tallest peaks in the world, known as the 8,000ers Club, are located in the north of Pakistan, 4 in the Gilgit-Baltistan territory alone. From there, going south, you see the one iconic powerhouse lifeline of the entire nation, the Indus River. Fed by snowmelt from the mountains up north, this is the longest river in the nation that has dozens of branches and tributaries that essentially
That's
feed
a
the entire
wide-ass
country.
river.
In fact, the Indus River Basin is the world's largest irrigation system with over 58,000 kilometers of canals, cultivating over 230,000 square kilometers of land. Further south, you find the largest natural lake in the country, Manchar, along the edges of the Indus Valley that flow into the Indus River Delta, with the Keti Bundur South Wildlife Sanctuary. This is the most heavily forested and wildlife concentrated area of Pakistan that is not commercially exploited. Also, it is really hard to build harbors here because the swampy mangroves make it difficult. Finally, a skip to the east, you hit the Tarparkar Desert, which claims to be the world's only fertile desert with a dry landscape, but abundance of water sources that nourish the myriad of shrubby plants and wildlife. Just zoom in and you can find small ponds and creeks meandering throughout the entire area, well across the border into India. Now keep in mind, within all this stuff, there's a ton of cool notable sites, such as the Hingol mud volcanoes, that lake that looks like a teardrop, the Biafo Glacier, the Fairy Meadows, the second largest salt mine in the world, and there's so much more. But yeah, I'm done here. I need a triple shot of espresso break, which means, oh no!
Oh no!
Oh no!
Oh, Noah. As you can probably guess by
This is so stupid. So stupid, and I love it.
now, Pakistan's land is not only loaded with contrast, but resources as well. Over 40% of the population is employed in agriculture and livestock, where wheat and cotton are the major crops. They actually rank 4th in the world for cotton production and 3rd in goat meat. Pakistan is actually one of the largest textile producing countries in the world. In fact, this one city produces about half the entire world's football or soccer balls. Otherwise, the nation is also thriving with wildlife. They have about 660 bird species, over 170 mammal species, including the national animal, the markhor. To finish off this segment, like we always do, food. Some dishes you guys, the Pakistan.
Y'all, I swear. Oh, come on. What? What is this? 30 seconds of food? That's it? For Pakistan? Nah. We got a problem here, geography. Now, you need more food. You need more food. We need... The food segment needs to be longer, man. Come on. Food is in my eyes, food is honestly probably the best way to look at a group of people. It really is. Like, food is the way into a people. Like, food make world go round. Food keep us alive. Food important. Food and very important to culture. Why is only 30 seconds?
Geography suggestions we mentioned include things like Baluchi-style saji and meat pie. Beef and lamb korma is also popular. In the north, you see dishes closer to Iranian and Afghan cuisine like lamb and beef kebab and Pashtun-style rice. We all know the world-famous Punjab cuisine. It's virtually the exact same as the Punjab in India. In the south, the Sindhi people will probably have more fish in their diets as they are on the coast. There's a lot of other cuisines we could have mentioned within the various ethnic groups, but that would take way too much time.
No, fucking... That looks so good. Come on, talk more about the food.
We can, however.
Do they? Well, y'all can spoil it for me. In the later episodes, as we get further into geography now, will they expand more upon the food segment, or is the food segment always going to be this short? Because I really hope they expand on it.
We're going to talk about the people groups in this next segment. The...
Bum, bum, bum.
Thank you, Noah. Now, the weird thing about the entire South Asian subcontinent is that when you look at the people, many of them look exactly alike, and you would just assume they're basically relatives. I mean, you have Pakistani Punjabis and Indian Punjabis, Pakistani Kashmiris, Indian Kashmiris. They have the same languages and same cultural traditions and history and customs, and in most cases, they really are family. But when it comes to nationhood and worldview, the dichotomy makes a clear boundary that splits one side from the other.
I don't know. My friend that was Pakistani, back in high school, you could, like, and we had, now I did not go to a diverse school, but we had a couple Indian students, Indian descent students. You can tell. I feel like now, of course, maybe it's because, right, I do not believe the Indian students that we had were Punjabi or Kashmiri Indian. I think they were probably more southern Indian, or maybe more northeastern in India towards Bengal, or Bangladesh. But at least in that instance, I feel like I look at my friend and I'm like, yeah, he's Pakistani. He's Pakistani. Of course, I could understand maybe mixing him up with maybe with Afghanistan, because they are fucking right next to each other, really. and I think they do share more of a shared history, specifically in more recent times as well. Um, but yeah, no, I feel like you can tell the difference between a Pakistani and an Indian, mainly in the clothing. A lot in the clothing. Well, also kind of, yeah, in the clothing. A lot in the clothing. And the women obviously would, yeah, the clothing really, um, would make a difference.
Keep talking. We're listening.
First of all, the country has over 200 million people and is the 6th most populous nation in the world and 2nd most populous Muslim nation after Indonesia. The country is very diverse in people groups, but the largest ones are the Punjabis at around 45%, Pashtuns in the north at about 16%, Sindhis in the south at about 14%.
Now, of course, I do not know which ethnicity inside of Pakistan my friend belongs to. I think he told me once which part of Pakistan he'd go to when he would visit family. And I think based off of that, I could make a guess, but I can't remember which part of Pakistan he would go to.
Saraikis at about 9%, and the rest are a mix of various other people groups like the Mujahirs.
Honestly, I don't think he was Punjabi. I think he might be Pashtun. And I'm really trying to remember. I haven't talked to him in a really long time. Pretty much after graduating high school. Didn't really talk. Because we didn't really have too much in common. Outside of school to really talk about, and not really our friend groups didn't really. He moved out of the town pretty much right after he graduated, so I never saw him really. But anyways, that's personal stuff that we don't need to talk about. He's a cool dude. I think he has his life together, more so than I do. Anyways.
Baluchis, and so on. They use the Pakistani rupee as their currency, they use the type C and D plug outlets, and they drive on the left side.
No! Pakistan. Why? Why do you drive on the wrong side of the road? I mean, fucking British. You British bastards. Doing your colonialism. Even though not every single former British colony does drive on the left. Some do drive on the correct side of the road, but still. I'm going to blame the British again.
Side of the road. Yeah, they were a former British colony. Now, Pakistan has 74 listed individual languages spoken throughout the country,
Damn,
66 of which are indigenous, and 5 have over 10 million speakers each. Almost all of them are Indo-Aryan. How on earth do all the people of Pakistan stay interconnected? Well, today, much like India, the nation has 2 official languages used and taught in schools, used as lingua francas, Urdu and English. Yeah, that's right, it's pronounced Urdu, not Urdu. For reference, Urdu is basically the same thing as Hindi, except it has a few extra words and phrases borrowed from Persian and Arabic. It's also written in the Perso-Arabic script. Here are some of you guys, the Pakistani geographers, explaining the subtle differences between Urdu and Hindi.
Hi, I'm Asya from Pakistan. Khatun is a woman in Urdu, and in Hindi it's Mahila, usually. Also, words like miracle, which is mojaza in Urdu, is chamatkar in Hindi.
I'm Maha from Lahore. Some of the words, or more like sentences, are quite the same in both the languages. Like the word magician, in both Hindi and Urdu, it's jadugar. But to a Pakistani and an Indian, the language differences are quite stark. Let's take thank you for example. In Hindi, you would say dhanyawad, but in Urdu, you would say shukriya.
Thanks, guys. Now, within the areas that make up Pakistan today, there is no one type of Pakistani. They come in all different shapes and colors, but the general demographic configuration layout shows that the East is more Indo-Aryan and the West is more Perso-Iranian. We don't have time to explain the culture behind all the many people groups of Pakistan, but we can highlight the largest ones. Let's start off. Punjabis. They are the river people. The word Punjab even means land of 5 waters. They are the backbone of the Indus River Valley. They are known for having a lot of agriculture or artisan associated people, but basically everyone knows that Punjabis are like the partiers of Pakistan. Their cousins, the Saraiki of the south, are kind of like a weird fusion between Punjabis and Sindhis. They love cooking with these flowers and are famous for their Jumar dancing. Sindhis are the southerners of Pakistan that rule the Delta and the largest city, Karachi. They are kind of known for being the money handlers, the business guys of Pakistan that keep the gears running on the financial side. Sufi Islam has a huge impact on Sindhi culture. Pashtuns. Pashtuns. These are the same Pashtuns that we talked about in the very first Geography Now episode, Afghanistan. Ooh, remember those days. Ooh, they are an Iranic people group related to the Persians and Afghani groups, not Indo-Aryan. Many of them still follow Pashtunwali, or the ancient self-governing tribal system that regulates everyday life activities in Pashtun communities.
Yep, my friend was Pashtun. Yep, the way he's. Yep, I remember. Yep.
They have their own traditional clothing, festivals. Many celebrate Nowruz.
Why am I saying my friend was? He's still alive. My friend is Pashtuni, I think.
New Year. And finally, Baluchis. They are the cousins of the Pashtuns, another Iranian people group. Like the Pashtuns, they have their own tribal societies. According to tradition, all the tribes are descended from one of the 5 children of Jalal Khan. At one point, there was kind of like a little bit of an insurrection amongst the Baluchi people for secession into an independent Baluchistan state. They are the most mineral-rich province in Pakistan, which is why their women are known for wearing some of the most lavish jewelry. And finally, we have to mention the cold mountain people, such as the Kashmiris, Baltis, Wakis, and so on. Kashmiris are Indo-Aryan, whereas Baltis are Sino-Tibetan. Nobody knows exactly what the Burushos are, but they exist. The Hunza people live the longest and have a super healthy special diet. The Kalash people have lots of blondes and redheads, and they practice a form of animism related to ancient Hinduism. And there are so many other people groups, but we don't have time. That's the gist of it. That's how you make a Pakistan. Otherwise, there are some traits that most Pakistanis kind of universally follow. And with that, here's Random Hannah to explain with culture stuff.
In Pakistan, no
I wonder
matter
if we're gonna
what
get music.
region you go to, you are very likely to see the traditional dress called shalwar kameez. They come in all different colors and designs. India has Bollywood and Pakistan has Lollywood, the term used for the film industry centered around Lahore, mostly producing Urdu-speaking films so everyone can understand. Pakistan also has the most active and numerous UN peacekeepers, usually working in Islamic countries to help as mediators in religious-based conflict. Speaking of which, they have the 6th largest military force in the world. They are famous for the Wagah border ceremony done every day at the border with India. Many people know Pakistan and India as cricket powerhouses. However, they love field hockey and squash as well. They have the best performance in the world with 4 championships. And with squash, they have the most British Open squash championships and world championships as well. And finally, of course, at about 95% of the population adhering to it, Pakistan unites mostly under the Muslim faith. Nonetheless, the Constitution guarantees freedom of religion, and there are noticeable Hindu and Christian minorities. However, the Constitution does limit political rights of non-Muslims. For example, the president and prime minister must always be Muslim. And now, I'm sorry guys, but here's Keith with some music stuff.
In Pakistan, there are 3 main general genres you will hear commonly throughout the country: traditional regional music, religious music, and modern music. A long time ago, before the European system was adopted, many places in the
What I hope to see, what I loved, and what I think we've been seeing, right, is Keith getting a little bit more and more, bit by bit, more comfortable on screen here. Like, he's already, like, compare this to, I think, the previous Geography Now, and I think he's a whole lot more comfortable. So I'm curious to see, like, how he progresses.
The
with
Indian subcontinent had a musical notation print called Swaralipi. It depicted notes, scales, and pitch. Raga music uses this a lot. Nonetheless, much of Pakistani music is based on improvisation and learned technique. Today, everything from Pakistani hip-hop, pop, and yes, even metal has been growing in the past few decades.
Guys, I think
I love how
he
you were
likes
so
pop.
pumped for
I mean,
half that
metal.
sentence and then you were like, you died at the end. Now, usually we don't sugarcoat everything here at Geography Now. I asked you guys, the Pakistani geography peeps, to explain some of the current issues Pakistan is facing today. They do have blasphemy laws enacted in their government system, which some see as a suppression of speech. Illiteracy and unemployment can also be high in certain areas as well. Just like their neighbors, human trafficking, especially of the homeless and homeless children, has been widely documented. Many officials like this guy are trying their best to fight against it. And finally, yes, we all know that there is a controversy with the jihadist terrorist organizations like Al-Qaeda that have been operating back and forth within regions of South Asia, often within Pakistani borders. This has been a constant struggle that the country has been facing. Their army has undergone numerous pursuits and clashes and battles against them. Terrorist attacks have killed over 30,000 people and caused over $67 billion in damage. Luckily, it has been in decline since the peak in 2009. Whew, yeah, Pakistan has beautiful land land and people, but to quote Poison, every rose has its thorn.
Hey man, I'm the music guy, man, dude.
Sorry, Mr. Chance. Anyway, we gotta move on. History. In the quickest way I can put it, Neolithic Mergar people, Indus Valley civilization, Indo-Aryans migrate, Hinduism, Persians, Macedonians, Mauryaans, a little bit of Buddhism comes in, weird, confusing Indo-Greek, Scythian, Parthian kingdoms, more Hindu kingdoms, Arab Caliphate, Islam comes in, Turkic dynasty, Mongols, yeah, even the Mongols took a stab at it, weird regional kingdom era, Mughals, British, independence and partition, Pakistan is 2 parts, wars with India, Bangladesh breaks and doesn't want to be part of Pakistan anymore, first democratic transition from military rule, coups, military tension, China deals, country grows, and here we are today. And finally, here
That wasn't bad. I think it was better than the previous geography now. I'm trying to remember, but I'm blanking on it. Yeah, that was okay. I think he's done better in the past for the history segment, but it wasn't anything like where I'm like, you know, it was passable.
Here are some famous people you guys, the Pakistani geography, suggested we mention. Jahangir Khan, Sohail Abbas, Malala Yousafzai, a bunch
I
of
always forget that she's Pakistani.
singers and actors like these people. There's just too many to mention. But one of the most famous ones would probably be Rahat Fateh Ali Khan. So many politicians and army people like these. I'm just gonna put it on the screen for you. As well as all these sports and athletic people. Mahbub ul Haq, Mir Muhammad Ali Khan, Abdul Qadir Khan, Abdul Salam, and Shahid Khan. A lot of poets and religious figures like these. But this one, Allama Iqbal, probably being one of the most prominent ones. Yeah, so many notable famous Pakistanis. I'm pretty sure a lot of people around the world have heard of them. Which brings us to the world relations, which brings us to...
Smooth.
Now you have to understand, Pakistan was kind of like a constructed state to consolidate religious communities in a former empire, so that means with Pakistan, a lot of their diplomacy depends on strategy. For one, even though they were a former colony, they still have a somewhat neutral-ish kind of amicable relationship with the UK. The UK has the largest population of Pakistanis in Europe. Many come from the Mirpur district, and you can still see much of the cultural influences in their society, such as cricket and driving on the left. They have generally good relations with the Gulf countries like the UAE, Saudi Arabia, Kuwait. Many Pakistanis moved there for work as expats. The past few years, though, there has been some controversy with mistreatment of Pakistanis and other expats by certain companies, but overall, the governments get along at least. Afghanistan and Iran are like their love-hate cousins. During terrorist conflict years, Pakistan took in millions of Afghan refugees that are essentially brothers of the Pashtuns in the north. It remains a constant issue, though, that they are facing to this day. Iran is also a key figure in business and trade, as well as supplying oil and other imports. India and Bangladesh also have a somewhat love-hate relationship. It's more like they hate the governments but love the people. India and Pakistan, of course, have so much history together, even before British colonial years. As mentioned, many of the people groups there share the same language and culture. The only thing essentially separating them is religion. Bangladesh, of course, broke away from Pakistan after the partition years and favored India shortly after independence. This kind of angered Pakistan at first, but decades later they've kind of moved on and have good relations once again. In terms of their best friends, however, many Pakistanis might kind of end up saying Turkey or China. Essentially what it comes down to is a kind of standoff against India. When one giant leaves you drama, you kind of settle for the other one. Together, they have the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor project, in which they allow them to use the port of Gwadar for their development and trade deals funded by China. Each country's people are welcomed in each other's, and visits are common. With Turkey, though, they've kind of always had a respect for the people, culture, and history, TV shows, and movies. They support the government and have many diplomatic business ties with them. This, of course, by default, also brings in Azerbaijan, Turkey's little brother. They love to travel to both of these nations and even go so far as to support Azerbaijan's side in the controversial disputes with Armenia. In conclusion, Pakistan may have been formed in the 40s, but you have millennia of backstory with this place. Pakistan, it is what it is. Go for it. Stay tuned. Palau is coming up next.
And that was Geography Now, Pakistan. This wasn't the best Geography Now. There are definitely some of the past few videos I think were better paced than this one. This one felt a bit slow. I really felt the time dragging on for this video. Still wasn't bad. Definitely better than, their earlier videos, but not quite to the quality that they have been making in the last few, I feel like. It's good. It was okay. But yeah, really got nothing else to add here at the end. I hope you guys enjoyed. Remember to hit that like button and subscribe for more. And I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.